My stepmom stood up at my stepsister's birthday party in front of 30 people and asked what she could do to make me stop being selfish and share what my dead mother left me. Nobody said anything. They just stared at me like they already knew I was supposed to say yes. Instead, I looked her in the eye and said something that ended our family forever. This is what happened. My mom died 14 months ago. Breast cancer, fast, brutal, and unfair. She was 43 years old. Before she passed, I was living with her full time. I just turned 18, and I was supposed to start college that fall. We had plans. We were going to pick out my dorm room together. We were going to have mother-daughter weekends. We were going to make memories that I was supposed to have for the rest of my life. Then she was gone. And suddenly I had all these things people think are supposed to help. A house, money, insurance checks. None of it made the apartment quieter at night. My mom left everything to me. The house, the savings, the life insurance, all of it. She didn't leave anything to my dad. Not because she was angry, but because they'd been divorced for 6 years. She wanted me to have stability. She wanted me to finish school without debt. She wanted me to be okay when she wasn't there anymore. I didn't tell my dad about the house, not because I was hiding it, but because I didn't trust him. Not with this, not with something that belonged to my mom. So I made a deal with my aunt, my mom's younger sister. She would live in the house temporarily. She was taking care of my grandmother, and her place was too small. I would move back in after I graduated. The house wouldn't sit empty. It would stay in the family. Meanwhile, I moved in with my dad. That was the first mistake. My dad had remarried 2 years before my mom died. Her name is Janet. She has twin daughters, Sarah and Emily, who are 19 now, the same age as me. We've always gotten along fine. The twins are lovely people. We grew up together, spent holidays together, shared bedrooms during family trips. They were never the enemy. But Janet was different. From the moment I moved in, the comments started, small at first, passive, the kind of things that sound like concern but feel like knives. This apartment is pretty tight with 5 people, isn't it? The twins are going to need help with college tuition. It's so expensive these days. You know, your mom would want you to be generous. She'd want you to share. I didn't respond. What was I supposed to say? That my mom died and left me a house as a safety net? That I was 18 years old and grieving and trying to figure out how to exist without the one person who was supposed to be there for my entire life. My dad didn't shut it down. He didn't say, "That's enough." He didn't protect me. Instead, he started joining in. At first, it was subtle. A sigh when Janet brought up the house, a comment about how family takes care of family, a look that said I was being difficult for not discussing my options. Then it got worse. 2 months ago, he found out about the house. I don't know how. Maybe my aunt said something. Maybe he saw paperwork. Maybe Janet went digging. Once he knew, the pressure became constant. At one point, I actually tried to compromise. I told my dad I could maybe help the twins with textbooks later on. Not now. Not everything. Just something small. He looked disappointed anyway. That's when I realized this was never about help. They already expected the whole thing. He called me selfish for making all of us stay in a 3-bedroom apartment. He called me spoiled for not wanting to share my inheritance. He called me a terrible person for making the twins take out student loans instead of just living in my mom's house rent-free. I started keeping my door locked. I ate meals in my room. I stopped leaving my phone charged because I didn't want to see the notifications. One night, I heard them through the wall, Janet and my dad arguing in the kitchen. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I just couldn't sleep. "She's 18, Janet said. "She doesn't know what to do with that kind of money. She'll waste it." "It's her money," my dad said. But his voice was weak. He didn't believe it. "It's family money," Janet corrected. "And we're family." I laid in bed that night and cried, not because I was sad, because I was angry. Angry that my own father was standing in a kitchen arguing about whether my mother's last gift to me should be given away to people who didn't earn it. I stopped eating dinner with them. I spent more time at the library. I avoided phone calls, but I couldn't avoid the birthday party. The twins' 19th birthday was on a Saturday. My grandmother, my dad's mother, hosted it at her house. Most of my dad's family was there, Janet's family. friends of the twins, a few of my cousins, 30 people, maybe more. I bought them matching bracelets with their birthstones. They loved them. They were hugging me, thanking me, saying it was exactly what they wanted. Then Janet spoke. She was standing by the cake, holding a glass of wine, smiling that smile that doesn't reach your eyes. "Is that really it?" she asked. The room went quiet. Sarah and Emily looked confused. "What do you mean?" Janet gestured toward me. "Your sister was planning to surprise you today. She was going to tell you that we're all moving into her mom's house and that she'd be helping with your college expenses." The silence was deafening. My grandmother turned to Janet. "Is that true?" Janet didn't hesitate. "She's been sitting on it for months, letting us struggle, letting the girls take out loans, while she has a house sitting empty and money she doesn't need." Then she looked at me. Her voice was sweet, but her words were venom. "What do I need to do to make you stop being so selfish? What do I need to do to make you be fair?" Everyone was watching me, 30 pairs of eyes waiting, judging. My dad was standing next to Janet. He didn't stop her, he didn't defend me, he just stood there, arms crossed, waiting for my answer. That was the moment I realized something I should have realized months ago. He wasn't on my side. He never was. I felt something snap inside me. Not anger, not rage, something colder, clearer. I looked at Janet, then I looked at my dad. Then I looked at the room full of people who suddenly cared very much about what was mine. "You want to know what you can do?" I said. My voice was steady. I wasn't shaking, I wasn't crying. "You can drop dead." The room gasped. Someone actually gasped. "My mother died so I could have these things you want me to give your daughters. If you want everything to be fair, then you can drop dead, and I will share everything I have with your daughters, because then we would all have lost a mother. And that would be fair." I didn't yell, I didn't scream. I said it like I was stating a fact, like I was too exhausted to pretend anymore, like I was pointing out something obvious that everyone else had missed, because that was the part nobody wanted to say out loud. I was the only person in that room who had actually lost a parent. I turned to my dad. He was staring at me like I was a stranger. "And you," I said. "You're supposed to be my father. You're supposed to protect me. You're supposed to be the one person who puts me first. Instead, you're standing there letting her harass me about the one thing my mother left me before she died." My voice broke on the word mother. Just once. Just for a second. But I didn't stop. "You had 14 months to protect me from this, and you never did. Not once." Janet started yelling. My dad started yelling. My grandmother stood up and started yelling at both of them. The party was over. People started leaving. Some shook their heads at me, some patted my shoulder, some just stared. On the ride home, my dad and Janet were in the front seat. I was in the back. They were on the phone with family and friends, explaining what happened, explaining how I had embarrassed them, how I had been cruel, how I had lost my mind. My phone started buzzing. Texts from Janet's family, texts from the twins' friends, texts from my own cousins. "You're being selfish." That was really harsh. "Maybe you should reconsider." I started typing responses, deleted them, typed more, then finally shut my phone off and shoved it under my pillow. The next few days were the hardest of my life. Harder than the funeral, harder than packing up my mom's house, harder than the first night I spent without her. Because this wasn't grief, this was betrayal. My cousins, the ones I grew up with, the ones I trusted, started texting me asking for money. Not advice, not support, money. "Hey, I know things are tense, but if you're giving the twins help, maybe you could..." My car broke down and I was wondering if, I always had your back. Maybe now you could... That was when I understood. The moment they heard the word inheritance, they stopped seeing me as their cousin. They started seeing me as a resource. My dad didn't talk to me for 3 days. When he finally did, it wasn't to apologize, it was to tell me that I needed to make things right, that I needed to apologize to Janet, that I was holding on to anger and it wasn't healthy. I looked at him and I saw something I had never seen before. He didn't see me as his daughter anymore. He saw me as an obstacle between Janet's daughters and the life they wanted, an obstacle between him and the peace he wanted, an obstacle between my mother's memory and the convenience of everyone else. That was the moment I made my decision. I moved out 2 weeks later, not into the house, not yet. I moved in with my grandmother, my mom's mother, the one who had been quiet during the party but showed up at my door the next day with a suitcase and a key. "You're not alone," she said. "You never were." She didn't ask for anything. She didn't hint at the house. She didn't talk about what was fair. She just opened her home and let me grieve in peace. The twins reached out a month later. Sarah called. She was crying. She said they didn't know. They said Janet told them I was planning to surprise them. They said they never would have asked if they knew it was about my mom. They kept apologizing for the party, for how everything happened, for not realizing sooner what Janet was doing. I believed them. I set up a fund for their college expenses. Not the full amount. Not enough to hurt my own future, but enough to help. Enough to show that I didn't blame them for their mother's choices. They cried, I cried, we hung up. I haven't spoken to my dad since that day. He sent letters, emails, voicemails. He said he was sorry. He said he didn't realize. He said he wanted to be part of my life. But I knew what he was really saying. He wanted to be part of my life now that I had something he wanted. It's been 8 months now. I'm in my second semester of college. I'm living with my grandmother. I visit my mom's grave every Sunday. The house is still mine. The money is still mine. And I don't feel guilty about it anymore. Because here's what I learned. Grief doesn't make you noble. It doesn't make you generous. It doesn't make you want to share the one thing that connects you to the person you lost. And family doesn't automatically deserve access to your life just because they share your blood. Some people will love you for who you are. Some people will love you for what you have. And some people, the ones who are supposed to love you the most, will confuse those two things and never understand the difference. My mom left me that house because she wanted me to be safe. She wanted me to have choices. She wanted me to know that even when she was gone, I would have a place to land. I'm not giving that away. Not for guilt, not for pressure, not for anyone. If that makes me selfish, then I'm selfish, but I'm also alive. I'm also okay. And I'm also learning that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no to the people who ask for too much. My mom would be proud of that. And that's the only opinion that matters. If you've ever had to choose yourself over family pressure, I see you, and you're not alone. Be honest. Was I too harsh, or was she asking for too much? I genuinely want to know what you would have done.